from Budapest. We are here at the Hungaroring, the first time since 26 years. Finally, the DTM is back, and this is our third race weekend. We're thrilled to be here. It's a very challenging track with tricky corners and no long straights. But there's one man who loves this track, and that is Timo Glock. You have a lot of experience here with the GP2 and with Formula One, of course. But are you really thrilled to be here? Why do you love this track so much?
I don't know. I mean, since I'm racing here, I had good memories, good results. So my first podium in Formula One in 2008 here. So good memories, and I just love the city. It's great. A lot of fans here. So I'm really looking forward to be back in Budapest, and hopefully we have a good qualifying now.
All right. Well, best of luck. Thank you very much. And now we're going to go on a lap with Christian Vitores.
Hi, I'm Christian Vitores. I'm driver for Mercedes-Benz in the DTM, and I'll now take you around the lap in Budapest. So it's the first lap in Budapest. We are now on the main straight, which will be probably the best part for overtaking. We're just exiting the first corner up to fifth gear. We're now going into the left-hand corner, which is the second gear corner. It's pretty much down the hill, so it's very important to get the apex right, carry the speed. That's a right-hander, which should be easy flat under normal conditions. It now goes up the hill into a very fast left-hander, and back in the right-hander. Now we're coming to the slowest part on this track, which is the chicane. Second gear, get the apex right, and now it's into the combination left and right, and the next one will be left as well. It's very important to get the apex right, to not make any mistakes. Carry the speed into the right-hander here, which is a very fast one. And now we're going into the last sector, which starts with a very slow right-hand corner. And only 2 corners left. We now can see the paddock up there. This one is the pit entry, which we use for a good lap time. Last corner, carry the minimum speed, it's very important here, and then of course go early on full throttle again. And that's it. There was one lap in Budapest.
Thank you very much to Christian Vitores then, who, of course, on a high following that victory in Oschersleben. Here is what happened in free practice then. Miguel Molina, once again, looking very, very fast. Topped the tables in free practice. Marco Wittmann, P2. Then Timo Glock, who Verena was talking to earlier. Alongside me is David Addison. Well, Budapest, of course, a track that is very challenging for our drivers. Only a couple of places, really, potentially for overtaking, and the weather not what we expected.
First of all, let's do the overtaking bit, Dave, because that is going to happen, if at all, at the end of the pit straight. Diving into the first hairpin, you might force an error out of somebody else on track, but it's not going to be easy. The weather, the forecast for the day has been sunny. Only now, at the end of the day, is the sun breaking through. It's a late qualifying session. It's 6:10 local time as we get underway. It's been grey and dull and grey and grey and a bit overcast and grey for the majority of the day. So only now is it starting to look like the forecast. And this is the first part of qualifying. 23 cars hit the track. It's about not being slow, as the 18 that will go through are the important ones into Q2. So you've got to get into that top 18. It's not about the overall lap time, but it's about getting into the next section of qualifying.
Absolutely, and interesting to see who's diving out of the pit lane first of all to be able to put what we would consider to be a banker lap in perhaps early on in the session, because of course it's going to be very busy out there. There's lots of traffic. You can see right at the top of the screen the clock for this part of qualifying that is counting down. There is Miguel Molina then, who of course went very, very well in free practice. We can't read too much into the free practice times because you and I are not abreast of the fact we don't know what the fuel loads were. We don't know who was running on what strategy. This is a man that I was really, really impressed with at Oschersleben, although he binned it into the gravel. That was Jamie Green that we just saw as we look at the champion Mike Rockenfeller, of course. And Jamie Green, actually, you and I spoke to him as we see him exit the pit lane now. He was pretty happy with the way things had gone up until that point, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it was the timing of the pit stop, the regulation pit stop, that did for him, and it dropped him into the pack, and he was frustrated and went onto slicks and threw caution to the wind and just went off the road. And history will say that he finished the race in 18th place, but he was classified 18th being off the road. There's the man that won the opening race of the year, Marco Wittmann, who is perhaps leading the BMW assault on this race. The last time the DTM came here was 1988, and then it was very much about Mercedes, because both races, there were two in the same day, were won by Johnny Cecotto's Mercedes. But in free practice, it suggests that this weekend is not going to be a Mercedes weekend. But then again, we said that at Otterschleiben, and things changed radically come the race.
Yes, I think it's fair to say, though, that of course the weather played into the hands of Mercedes-Benz, and strategy also played into the hands of Mercedes-Benz at Oschersleben. And yet, to be fair, we know that for Mercedes to catch up to where Audi and BMW are at the moment is going to take a little time, and so we're not expecting miracles here. It's certainly dry running. There was talk that potentially there could be a shower tomorrow. Only time will tell. We're on board with Edo Mortara right now, though, as we go on yet another high-speed lap of this Hungaroring circuit here. We're just around about 30 minutes away from Budapest, I suppose. Those sausage curbs there. David and I took a long time yesterday walking the entire perimeter of this circuit, checking out where was quick, where wasn't quick, where you can take some curbs, where you can't take some curbs. And it was really, really interesting here, perhaps, David, more prevalent than at many, many other circuits, and that is the fact that you set yourself up. If you get one corner wrong, you're wrong for 3 or 4 thereafter.
Exactly, it's about momentum, and there's sequences of corners, and if you get one bit wrong, you're compromised for quite a few corners to come. And this is one section at the end of the lap, because this hairpin, the penultimate hairpin, takes you uphill. It doesn't look that steep a climb, but it is steeper than you expect, and that is important that you try and get that right, as the net result, if you are slow heading up the hill, is you're compromised for this hairpin, and that in turn compromises you onto the pit straight, and at the end of the pit straight is your opportunity to overtake going into the turn 1 hairpin. Now at the moment it is the Audi of Nico Müller that tops the time, not anymore, because Augusto Farfus now goes to the very top. He's done a 37.5, and that is comparable to what was being done in free practice, but now Farfus has found himself in traffic, and a 37.587 is the best effort. It's a funny situation as well this weekend, in that not that many drivers have done that many laps in racing around here. Those that are the young guns have done it in the junior single-seater ranks, but it is a circuit that they had a lot of testing at the start of the year. So although the likes of an Ekstrom, for example, haven't raced here before, they have done many a mile in testing, whereas the likes of Vitaly Petrov have been here in Formula 1, Timo Glock likewise. Daniel Hunfedea was a winner here in Formula BMW, so he's got track knowledge. It's the younger drivers, those that haven't been in the championship for that long, that have track experience over the old guard.
Yes, and that's a really interesting position, isn't it? You know? Okay, we're looking at Marco Wittmann right now. Now, Marco, of course, driving that Ice Watch BMW. And what can Marco Wittmann do for us here? What are we looking at? 137.094 from Molina. Here comes Marco Wittmann then as he rounds the final turn and propels the BMW towards the timing line. 2 tenths out there, 136.878 puts him right at the top of the chart. Early doors, of course, we've got 8 minutes left to run in this, the first part of qualifying here at Hungaroring for DTM. Timo Glock is next we go on board with. And again, Verena was talking to Timo Glock. He's one of those drivers, David, with experience of this circuit.
From Formula 1, from GP2, and another driver from F1 who has got experience is Vitaly Petrov, and he has just been warned about exceeding the track limits at turn 4, and he's not going to be the only person, I'm sure, in the session. Turn 4 is a very fast left. You go uphill, flick left, and you run wide there. It's easy to do. You overstep the track limits. We'll show you turn 4 during the course of the session, but he has been warned about going too wide. It's Wittmann ahead of Molina. Now Bruno Spengler has just gone 3rd. Farfus is 4th. Tombe is 5th, and Maxime Martin is 6th. At the moment, those outside the cut, as you look at Tombe launching himself over the curb and getting all sideways and onto the dirt, and indeed spinning. And yesterday in free practice, yesterday in the rollout, that car looked pretty loose and nervous to drive. It's even more nervous today. Those that currently missed the cut are Mortara, Vitoris, Petrov, Glock and Da Costa.
It was yesterday, you and I were watching Tombe out of everyone that was out there during rollout, and it was turn 13 where he just couldn't seem to get that car to turn in without oversteer. He was having to use opposite lock every time that he did it. Yep. And just on that, the basis of what we've seen there, perhaps that hasn't been quite sorted yet.
Yeah, I mean, they've had an hour and a half of free practice, and that really is it. They don't get as much track time as they used to. The rollout The 15-minute rollout was not timed. It's for the teams to do whatever they want. Happens now in 2 groups. That was done yesterday afternoon at about this time. And then they had this 90-minute free practice period today. So they come into it with limited running of the weekend, albeit they have had that long test program here from pre-season. This is Antonio Felix da Costa, who is new to the championship this year. He won both of his GP3 races here back in 2012. So da Costa knows the circuit. Da Costa goes well at this circuit. He's yet to do a proper lap time. So for the moment, he is outside that top 18 and he needs to get himself in there. He has done 2 personal bests. Wide coming onto the pit straight. This should get him in, and he goes across the timing line, and he does get in. He goes 3rd quickest indeed.
Yes, and 1:37.423 then for Antonio Felix da Costa. And Wittmann, it is that tops the table at the moment. He's 1:36.878. There is Christian Vitoris, of course, victorious, David, just a couple of weeks ago with... I was going to say rubber going on there, but actually I'm not sure they did get changed, did they?
I thought they had, and I was just wondering, because, yes, he needs to do something extraordinary here.
Yeah,
5.5 minutes to go. He's outside that 18. So those new tyres are to try to get him in. That's Timo Scheider, who is 9th, and for the moment he's safe. But another set of boots. No, that's going to go to its garage, I think.
Yeah, he's
door off.
that.
Yeah, that'll get ready for Q2. So they're saying he's safe. At the moment, then, those that missed the cut, Paul di Resta, Daniel Junqueira, then Eduardo Mortara, Christian Vitoris, Vitaly Petrov. What's 4 out of 5 there representing Mercedes?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely right. Just 5 minutes on the clock. Left here is Daniel Juncadella then in that gorgeous looking Mercedes. What can he do? And he needs to do some work here because at the moment he is P20. That is not going to be enough to take him through. And looking at those sector times, David, it's not absolutely brilliant here for Danny Juncadella. 4.5 minutes left to run in this session and he's into the pit lane. So... are they going to put new rubber on that and send him out again? Because, by the time that's done, he could get 1, maybe 2 laps.
I think they have to. They have to try something, don't they? Farfus being cycled through, Paul di Resta being cycled through as well. The pit lane is busy. Some people are going to go out on a new set of tyres and scrub them in for Q2. Others are going to use them to try and get the time now. Marco Wittmann doesn't need to worry because he's safe, he's good, he's the quickest, and he's the only man in the 36s, and that's the best time of the day, quicker than anybody went in free practice. 36.878 is the gun time.
Just in Gary Paffett run through there, he's on the bubble, isn't he, David?
Yeah.
Where is he at P18?
Yeah, so if Paul di Resta were to get in, out goes Paffett, so he needs to do something extraordinary as well. He's got to find another 10th or so to be really secure. Right, so Christian Vitoris, who is 22nd out of the 23 cars that we have in the championship, is about to emerge onto the pit straight and now start. I would say he's got time for 2 more, maybe even 3 more flying laps, certainly 2. And this is the first of them. Down to turn 1, the hairpin, and you've got to be oh so precise under braking and not miss the apex and turn in. If you lock up and scrabble out wide, you've really compromised the next sequence.
Here is Adrian Tombe then, who has done a 35.425 in Sector 1, turns that purple. So Adrian Tombe then, what can he deliver here? He's currently, where are we, P6. So Adrian Tombe then, middle sector, not quite as sparkling for him perhaps. Now, it was Tombe that we mentioned. We thought he'd got handling issues with that car. We certainly saw that around the turn 13. And he runs certainly a little bit wide on the exit of turn 13, doesn't he? Turn 14 now for Adrian Tombe. We've got just under 3 minutes left in this first part of qualifying here. DTM at the Hungaroring. And does Tombe improve? Indeed he does, goes to P3. Despite
a pretty average, by his standards, middle sector, not as good as he had been doing, but that puts him 3rd, and that should make him safe. So it is Wittmann, Molina, Tombe, da Costa, Spengler, Farfus, Martin, Ekstrom, Scheider, Jamie Green, the top 10. That now changes because we've had an improvement from Nico Müller to go 6th. Now Vitoris down in Sector 1, personal best in Sector 2. It's not looking great.
No, it isn't. So in this final part of the lap, can Christian Vitoris pull out something from the bag? And he needs to. To the timing line he goes. And a 1:39.022 isn't going to cut it, is it, David?
Frustration is that's his fastest lap of the session, and it keeps him slowest.
Yes. Robert Wickens next up then. Robert Wickens moves up 1 place to P14.
Ahead of him, Joey Hand went 9th. He did a 37.649. He was in the top 18 anyway, just shuffles the order a bit. Gary Paffett is still vulnerable. Di Resta, Junqueira, Mortara have all done personal bests in Sector 1. This is Di Resta.
So Paul Di Resta then a 35.859 through Sector 1. What can Paul Di Resta do? He needs to do something because at the moment he is out. So we are hoping for a great lap time from Paul Di Resta. Just under 1.5 minutes left to run in this. 2 greens in the first and the middle sector, David. So Paul Di Resta doing everything he can then. We saw him in the pit lane with new rubber going on. Has it done the trick for Paul Di Resta as he rounds turn 13, heads towards turn 14 now. 1 minute remains in this, the first part of qualifying. We're watching the AMG liveried Paul Di Resta car as he heads for the timing line now. 18th, he's moved up 1 place.
But I think he's going to get dumped out because Mortara is on a quick lap and he was 2/10 quicker than Di Resta in Sector 1 and he was a 10th quicker in Sector 2. And Edo Mortara goes across the timing line and puts himself 16th, so Di Resta is out of the top 18. As quick as he was in, he's out. And you've also had a good lap posted by now Timo Glock to go 5th. So those that missed the cut, Di Resta, Mercedes, Junqueira, Mercedes, Paffett, Mercedes, Petrov, Mercedes, Vitoris, Mercedes. There's a funny echo here.
Yes, there is. So we're watching Gary Paffett now. Of course, Gary Paffett, supremely experienced here in the DTM. The Euronics logo adorns that Gary Paffett car. A 35.775 in Sector 1. David, Gary needs to really be magic in this, doesn't he? Because he is currently P21.
He's got to find over 0.3 of a second on the lap time to get into the top 18. And 0.3, when it's this evenly matched and you've got a car that's struggling, in general, the Mercedes is struggling against the Audi and BMW opposition. It's not that easy to find. So yeah, it's a personal best in Sector 1, but is it enough?
Well, probably.
So he's down in Sector 2.
The middle sector not so good, 35.865. That isn't going to be enough, David.
No, it's not. And Petrov behind him had been on a quick-ish lap, but he's aborted it. This is Gary losing time at the chicane through turns 10 and 11. And a shake of the head from the pit wall because at the end of the lap, is he going to even finish it or is he aborting it? No, he's going to finish the lap, but fingers crossed for him, but I'm not optimistic. Gary Paffett comes across the timing line and is 21st fastest, and that's it.
Yes.
Flag out.
So then, what have we got? Highest placed Mercedes, Robert Wickens, P15.
And Pascal Wehrlein is 18th.
Yeah.
And then the rest outside the cut.
Well, we always knew it was going to be a while, and there is Vitaly Petrov in the garage, just looking at the timing screens there. The Parc Fermé sign there. Do not touch that car. As far as Vitaly Petrov, it's all over, and all over too for this man, Christian Vitoris, who, of course, was successful at Oschersleben. And the black and chrome liveried Christian Vitoris car being pushed back into the garage. So, section 1 of part 1, if you like, of the 3-part qualifying here, David.
One or two interesting things have shaken out of that at the very end. Maxime Martin, second fastest in the end. Impressive in Q1. And just to show how competitive different teams are and different cars are and different drivers are, Augusto Farfus with the number 3 BMW, that's a Racing Bart Mampé car, ahead of the M-Tech BMW of Timo Glock. The gap between them at the end of the session, 1/1000th of a second. Farfus ends up 4th, Glock 5th, 1/1000th of a second slower, that's all.
1/1000th of a second. Okay, there is Paul Di Resta. And once again, disappointment for Paul Di Resta here in the first part of qualifying, and these are the people going out. That man, Paul Di Resta, also Daniel Juncadella, Gary Paffett, Vitaly Petrov, and Christian Vitoris. Familiar ring to it, David Addison.
It has, unfortunately. Christian Vitoris, of course, the Oschersleben winner from the pit lane, so depending on what the weather has in store, he's not completely out of the games. But Vitoris, who had a win last time out, will be last on the grid provisionally here. I say provisionally because, remember, Oschersleben, things changed after qualifying when they went to post-qualifying scrutineering. So we lose Vitoris, we lose Vitaly Petrov. He will start 22nd on the grid in his Mercedes, the Russian driver. looking forward to his home race at Moscow in a month's time, or just over a month's time. Gary Paffett, very frustrated at 21st, and part of it, proof of how hard he was trying, was this little drama at turns 10 and 11 through that chicane. So Gary will start 21st on the grid. Daniel Junqueira's Mercedes will start 20th. The car looks great, but Danny, Formula 3 star of years past, Formula BMW star before that, struggling at the moment. And Paul di Resta on his return, the former champion from Formula 1 to the DTM, never surely expected it to be this hard. He is 19th. He is the best of the rest, effectively. He is the quickest of those that fail to make it into Q2. And once again, huge frustration at Mercedes.
Yes, well, the work continues behind the scenes, doesn't it, to try and get the Mercedes back on terms. But whatever work they're doing, and they are working tirelessly, it's just not happening at the moment. They always knew, and you can tell there. Just look at the facial expression of Gary Paffett at how truly disappointed he is. Okay, qualifying session 1 then. Marco Wittmann topped the table with a 1:36.878. Then it was Maxime Martin, Miguel Molina, Augusto Farfus, Timo Glock, Adrian Tombe, Joey Hand, Antonio Felix da Costa P8, Bruno Spengler P9, Nico Muller 10, Matthias Ekstrom 11, and then Timo Scheider P12. And it's Jamie Green then, he is P13 with the champion Mike Rockenfeller next, with Robert Wickens, the best of the Mercedes, Edo Mortara, Martin Tomczyk, and Pascal Wehrlein. So, yeah, another Mercedes in. And I'm looking for positives here, and there's two
yes.
through to the next part of qualifying. They're going to have it tough, aren't they?
They are. I mean, in fairness, they are not at the foot of the times of that. So we'll see how they fare. I mean, they're not the slowest within that 18. You know, you've got Wickens 15, so there are some positives. You're absolutely right. Not sadly for Gary Paffett, but who knows what strategy and what the race tomorrow will have in store. So another day, another story. But Gary, one of the 7 former champions on the grid for now, walks away. And let's hear from a frustrated Paul di Resta.
Paul, did you ever think it would be so difficult to actually come back into the DTM? You're starting P19 tomorrow.
I think I didn't expect to be where I think we are, but I think generally as a manufacturer we're not good enough, and I think we know we're not good enough. I must say that session I'm very happy with how it went, given where we were this morning in terms of balance. You know, for the first time I've really felt something of an improvement coming. You're able to move up and try and work on the car. Okay, I've got a little bit to find to some of my teammates, but I think that will naturally come with time. But, you know, we're running different variations as a team, and where we are, I think we can be quite comfortable, because I think we went more towards the race for tomorrow for a balance for the longer distance.
But looking at the Mercedes-Benz cars, all in all, being out now, that surely can't be optimistic.
No, it's not right. And I think generally, as a manufacturer, we're looking to see what's working and what's not working at the moment. And yeah, it's a big blow. But at the same time, you know, you have to give the guys, because they're working really hard to try and improve it. And I'm working hard. So we're all a team, and you win and lose as a team. And unfortunately, we're going through a difficult time. But you know, with the progression and where this team has been in the past, they've got the best history. So I feel for that sense I'm in the right place.
Right. Excellent. Thank you very much, Paul. And now I'm here with Gary. I was just talking to Paul about how disappointed Mercedes-Benz must be. But first of all, let's talk about you, P21. How frustrated are you?
Very. I mean, probably as Paul said, you know, we're not expecting to be on pole position at the moment. You know, we're still learning. We're trying as many things on the car as we can to try and understand the car and understand what we can get out of it. So we're doing a lot of experimenting. But to be honest, I should have been further up in qualifying. I mean, I was pretty close to Robert this morning, and the cars are quite similar, and the car was quite good in qualifying. The balance was quite good, but I made a mistake on my second run. The first run was a complete mess because we had a lot of traffic and it was really hard to get a lap, but the second run I just made a mistake and lost a lot of time. So I'm disappointed with my personal effort in qualifying, but obviously, you know, we're not fighting for pole position, so it's a bit different, but it's still disappointing when you don't do the best you can. So,
but are you still looking forward to the race tomorrow?
Yeah, it should be interesting. It's going to be tough to overtake here, but we're still learning. We still have a lot of stuff to find out on the car, and hopefully tomorrow we can learn a lot more. If we can score a few points, that'd be great, but you know, we'll see.
All right, thank you very much, Gary. And back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Verena. Well, interesting what Paul and Gary were saying there. Gary, we always know we're going to get to the truth, aren't we? We're going to get it the way it is, and he's very self-deprecating. Hey, I made a mistake. It was down to me. The car isn't right. The Paul went on to say that the manufacturer, of course, isn't right, but they got it right in Oschersleben, and Christian Vitoris will tell us.
Yeah, Christian certainly did it right in Oschersleben, but here in Budapest, oh my, you're last in the field, basically starting very last position. Are you going to manage it all tomorrow to do something as magical as 2 weeks ago?
Well, we just need to hope for rain conditions. I said before that under normal conditions, dry conditions will be difficult. That's why it was so important to take the points in Oschersleben, where the weather obviously has helped us. But now we just need to stay together, work as a team together, and try to come to the front as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. Best of luck for tomorrow. And I'm curious to find out whether Christian is going to do a little rain dance tonight, perhaps.
Verena, I don't think there's any doubt about that. He will be jigging like never before for rain. I was going to go on to say, David Addison, it was interesting what Paul di Resta was saying, just how hard as a manufacturer, of course, they are working. But he felt there had been some improvement.
Yeah, which is heartening. And again, perhaps this is the season that underlines why you need the track time, because here is a manufacturer that needs to have more laps to work on the car.
Yes.
Interesting as well to hear Paul di Resta saying that drivers are doing different things. And I just wonder whether that's to the overall benefit, because if everyone's doing something different, are you sure that you know what's working on some cars and not? And I don't know. It's the team's decision might be a tough one, but can that send you down a blind alley?
It can, and the rule, and talking to race engineers is, often it is change one thing, isn't it, at a time. But when their track time is so limited, David, then I guess they're having to do that. Right, we're into the next part of qualifying here at the Hungaroring. It is DTM qualifying, and Mike Rockenfeller we're watching at the moment, who's done a 35.641 in Sector 1, so the Schaeffler Audi of the champion, Mike Rockenfeller.
Already being warned about track limits. It's his first flying lap of the session, and he has failed to manage the track limits at turn 4, the left at the top of the hill. So Mike Rockenfeller, you only get penalised in qualifying if you gain an advantage by doing that, if you improve your lap time. So as this is his first lap time, inevitably it will be the benchmark. So he comes up to the timing line. Timo Glock is ahead of him, and the gun time we've had so far is a 36.8. That's a 38.1, so it's a start-up lap from Mike Rockenfeller. Timo Glock is ahead of him. So whatever you set in Q1, if you didn't make it through, you keep as your grid time. But if you do go through into Q2, wipe the slate clean and we start all over again. And Nico Müller does a 37.608 ahead of Timo Scheider. Bruno Spengler goes quicker of all now, 37.3.
Okay, so 37.333 is what Spengler has done. We're watching Pascal Wehrlein then, as we do see the Mercedes mark through to the next part of qualifying. And Pascal Wehrlein with the Guix livery across that Mercedes then. 35.8, Sector 1, 35.1, Sector 2. Here we go then. Augusto Farfus is now quickest, and Pascal Wehrlein goes 7th fastest.
That lap Mike Rockenfeller set has been deleted because he did not manage the track limits. Now, even though it was his first lap, there was an improvement because he helped set the lap time, given that he went off the road. So Rockenfeller effectively is a lap down on everybody else in terms of a time in the session, as Miguel Molina goes to the very top on a 1:37.120 from Farfus. And this is Maxime Martin, who's heading up towards the timing line, the Belgian driver. And as he comes up, let's see where he will slot in. It's 8 that we need out of this. He goes quickest of all, 1:37.061. This is the important part of qualifying. Having said that Q1 is about not being slow, now you've got to be quick, because out of 18, only 8 progress.
And Marco Wittmann we watch now as he crosses the timing line. Marco Wittmann goes P1 with a 1:37.016. Timo Glock is P7. Antonio Felix da Costa. Oh, big lockup of tyre smoke that we saw there. Here is Antonio Felix da Costa, who now goes quickest, the first sub 1:37 time, 1:36.972.
A 10th shy of Marco Wittmann from Q1. Surprising, because of course the cars will be a bit lighter now. There is Timo Scheider having a new set of tyres, and in the background Nico Müller will rejoin the session. Marco Wittmann quicker than anybody in Sector 1, and that has now been beaten. So how good the lap will be, we'll wait and see. Robert Wickens' Mercedes has yet to do a proper lap time. He's on a 38.4, but there's more to come out of the Canadian.
Just looking that Jamie Green's had a cancellation of his lap time as well. And, track limits, it's turn 4 and turn 11, isn't it? It's where they're being caught out. We're with Robert Wickens right now. Then the DaCosta time is at the top of the graphic you can see there. And we're comparing that with what we're watching now from Robert Wickens. First sector 35.8, 35.1 for the second sector. What can Robert Wickens do to uphold the Mercedes mark as he bins the lap and is into the pit lane?
Also, Marco Wittmann's had a lap time deleted, and Pascal Wehrlein has had a lap time deleted again for this track limits issue. Matthias Ekström is 8th. He's on the bubble, and the man that finished in the first round of the championship at Hockenheim in second place struggled at Ossersleben, having got bumped out of Q2, didn't make it into Q3. He pits. We've got just over 4 minutes on the clock, 4 minutes and change remain of Q2. It's DaCosta, Martin, Moliner, Farfus, Tombe, Spengler, Glock, and Ekström in the top 8.
And it's a very, very busy pit lane right now as everyone comes in with just on 4 minutes remaining in this second section of qualifying. There is the champ, Mike Rockenfeller. And there is Jamie Green then, who has not done an absolutely blistering first sector with a 35.7. Jamie Green is, where are we currently? P15. So what can Jamie Green deliver for us? We've got 3 3/4 minutes left. DaCosta's at 1:10, 1:51. Let's compare it. Jamie's well down on it, isn't he?
He is indeed. The first sector is down, second sector is down, but he's got time to do another lap, assuming he's not aborting it. He might come in and have a new set of tyres. But at the moment, within that top 8, 5 BMWs, 3 Audis. Jamie Green is staying out. No, comes in late. So looked like he was taking the line for the corner and then dives in. And I think behind him, Maxime Martin comes in as well. And Jamie Green comes in with all due haste, which means this is going to be a task to get his back out as fast as they can.
Very much so, because the clock kicks down. Just 3 minutes left to run in this session of qualifying. So the team go hard at work here on Jamie Green's car as we watch Nico Muller right now. A 35.615 through the first sector. Goes through the chicane here at the Hungaroring. Nico Muller then on a charge, and he needs to be.
He needs to find 2/10 to get into the top 8. Not easy to do, but as Dave Richardson has said, he's going the right way about it. He's done a personal best in sector 1.
So as we continue to watch Nico Muller, does a personal best in sector 2 as well, 34.721. But is it going to be enough? DaCosta right at the top of the table at the moment.
He's about 3/10 off the ultimate in each sector, so I'm not convinced it's going to be enough, but we will see. He comes then now through the last corner up towards the timing line. Can he get himself into that top 8?
Yes, he can.
Can indeed. 5th quickest is a 37.204. Good effort. Timo Scheider also is outside, and he's done 2 personal best, and Scheider goes 10th. Frustration. So now Ekström, Scheider are the first 2 that missed the cut.
Here comes the American racer then, Joey Hand, with 35.745 through sector 1. So what can Joey Hand deliver? Because at the moment he's P12. So he's 4/10 slower than the DaCosta times.
Scheider's lap I've just talked about has been deleted because of failing to manage the track limit, so Scheider drops down to 13th, and a mistake from Joey Hand there, working his way towards the end of the lap. He got turn 12 wrong. He's been compromised in this last sequence of corners, Dave.
Of course, he has got time to get one more lap in, has Joey Hand, as he crosses the timing line, and that cost him dear in that third sector, didn't it?
It did. So the net result is that Joey Hand is 11th. Matthias Ekström is just over a 10th away from the top 8, and he's on track still, but I'm not sure he's going to get time to do one more lap. This is Edo Mortara, who is currently 10th fastest, and on this lap he's done 2 personal bests, so Mortara should break into the top 8. He comes up across the timing line, he breaks the beam, and he goes now 8th fastest, 37.352. And then Timo Glock goes up to 2nd behind him on a 36.990, and Marco Wittmann goes top, 36.646.
All happening in the final stages of this part of qualifying. Mike Rockenfeller, well, he doesn't improve enough. It's just P12. He can do another lap. We've got 30 seconds left to run.
12 for Mike Rockenfeller, the championship leader. The reigning champion is only 12. What about Eki?
Here comes Matthias Ekström then. So as Didn't look terribly smooth through that turn 13. Sets himself up for turn 14. This is Mattias Ekström then, who's heading towards the line. Now he's just going to cross the line, isn't he, with just enough time to do another lap if necessary. And it is necessary because it's P10 for Mattias Ekström.
He moves up, but as you say, only to 10th, so there's more to come. And you've got Maxime Martin doing a personal best in the first section, so he's not done, and Jamie Green has got to do something. Jamie is 18th at the moment. He's mired in traffic come the race if he stays there. 2 personal bests. The first is 2/10 down from the absolute. The middle sector is half a second down from the absolute. So it's not going to be it might be an improved lap, but I don't think it's going to get him into the top 8, with all due respect to Jamie, hard as he may try.
And try hard he jolly well does as he crosses the line now. P10 for Jamie Green.
Okay, goes ahead of Ekström and Mortara and Rockenfeller.
Yes.
So that's not bad within Audi, is it?
No, it isn't. So Jamie Green saw a gritty performance from Jamie Green at Oschersleben, and probably the same is true of that qualifying.
So now 9th, the first one out the cut, is this man, Bruno Spengler, all of a sudden. And he's done a personal best, and he is really trying. Sparks flies, he rattles over the curb, coming through the middle sector, but he's lost a little bit of ground. So Bruno Spengler's target is Adrian Tombe, and to get ahead of him, he needs to find 31 thousandths of a second.
31 thousandths of a second. That's how close it is as we watch Bruno Spengler. That middle sector was not brilliant. So P9 at the moment for Bruno Spengler. There's Marco Wittmann's time at the top of the graphics for you as he crosses the timing line now, David.
And he goes across at the line and he stays 9th on a 37.317. He goes fractionally slower. And while that was happening, Martin Tomczyk had an earlier lap time deleted. He's just gone across the line to go 15th, and that one should stay. But Martin Tomczyk's not had a great session. And with the flag then now out, it is Marco Wittmann, Antonio Felix da Costa, Timo Glock, Maxime Martin, the top 4. It is a lockout in Q2 of the top 4 places from BMW.
Yes, it is. And very, very interesting during that section of qualifying how many laps were taken away because of exceeding track limits. So that's something to bear in mind when we go through to the next section of qualifying. Qualifying now, DTM for 2014 is one of the changes. We have 3 parts into qualifying now. And, well, this is going to be very, very exciting indeed. There is the champ Mike Rockenfeller then, and as you quite rightly pointed out, top of the points chart at the moment, but had a torrid time of it there, and P13 not what we expected from Mike Rockenfeller.
But Marco Wittmann tops the times yet again. Is he going to be able to maintain that pace going into Q3? Because now for the top 8 on the grid, this is where their times are going to be set. But 4 BMWs in the first 4 places in Q2. 5th, Miguel Molina for Audi. 6th, Augusto Farfus for BMW. 7th, Nico Müller, perhaps the surprise in the Audi ranks, because he is into that top 8. And 8th, Adrian Tombe, claiming a few scalps as well within the team.
And perhaps that's also a little bit of a surprise, given that we've seen how Tombe has been struggling with the car at times. And what we should also mention, of course, is the fact that we're not far from an Audi plant here at Hungaroring.
Yeah, it's a big market for Audi. 10,000 employees they have here. Something else we've not really touched on is the weight, because, of course, there is this success weight brought in. We'll come to that in a second. First of all, look at the times, Dave.
Yes, topping it then, Marco Wittmann with that 1:36.646. Then we see Antonio Felix da Costa, Timo Glock, Maxime Martin. Then the 4-strong BMW right at the top of the table. Then it's Audi, Miguel Molina, Augusto Farfus. And you can see the drivers that are going out. Spengler, Green, Ekström, Mortara, Mike Rockenfeller, Joey Hand, Timo Scheider, Pascal Wehrlein. And, well...
Just underlines how competitive it all is, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Okay, and there we can see, looking at the screen there is Robert Wickens, did his level best, of course, but ended up at P17. The BMW bank car of Bruno Spengler is pushed back into the garage. And, of course, perhaps Spengler will be the crossest of most because he was right on the bubble, wasn't he?
He was. Just to do the weights, Augusto Farfus is a driver with an extra 2.5 kilos based on results at Oschersleben. Martin Tomczyk carries 2.5 kilos. And then others lose weight. Robert Wickens drops 2.5. So does Antonio Felix da Costa. So does Daniel Junqueira. So does Vitaly Petrov. So does Pascal Wehrlein. And if you're thinking, well, why doesn't Christian Vitoris gain weight? Because he won at Oschersleben. He'd already had a weight reduction because of the poor performance of Mercedes after Hockenheim. That win just brought him back up to the base weight of 11-20 kilos.
Yeah, so it's kind of cancelled it out, hasn't it? Okay, so Marco Wittmann then, and there we can see the champion. And going into this round, top of the points, Mike Rockenfeller talking there through exactly what happened during that part of qualifying. Timo Scheider is now with Verena.
Yes, Timo's right here with me. That is really, really frustrating, I bet. I mean, if you look at it, 2 DTM champs are out already, and now we have 5 other DTM champs who are not in the top 5. Among them also you. How does that feel?
Well, for sure it's disappointing, no question. We struggled this morning already a bit, but I was quite optimistic, and I had to say that the first outing in the first session was quite positive. But after that, the second and third outing we did in the second outing was different. Somehow the front tires had been more understeer, which was strange. So, and they cancelled my quickest lap due to track limit by it should be or it was for sure something like some centimeters. But in the end, it's P15, otherwise would be P11 or something, but for sure it's not positive.
Right, thank you very much. Best of luck for tomorrow. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Verena, very much. And as we take a look at some slow-mos of those out there, Robert Wickens, then the Fremantle Mercedes-AMG C Coupe. And point to be made, David, is champions into the next part of qualifying.
0.
Yeah.
We have 7 of them. Not one has got into the final 8. The guard is changing in the DTM. Matthias Ekström, who's been a fixture of the championship and looks as youthful as ever, is at 35, the oldest man on the grid these days. And yes, DTM is competitive, but it's no longer a championship, is it, for the old stages of touring car racing, because now you've got people coming from Formula 1, yes, but the junior single-seater ranks into the DTM and being competitive. And here's a double champion who ends the session only 15th, Timo Scheider. He can still deliver, he's still competitive, but Marco Wittmann, Antonio Felix da Costa, the top 2, for example, both from junior single-seater racing heading into Q3. Joey Hand, another frustrating session for him, and so he ends up 14th as we get ready then for the final part of qualifying, and this is where we have 8 drivers who go for the first 4 rows of the grid.
And there is Mike Rockenfeller. We're seeing these super slow-mos then of those that are out. Mike Rockenfeller, P13, the best that he could achieve qualifying here at the Hungaroring. And with Verena now is Matthias Ekström.
Yes, and Matthias is starting in P11 tomorrow. How does that feel for you, and what do you think you can achieve tomorrow in the race? It's going to be difficult.
No, I mean, the racing is always different to qualifying. Still, P11 sucks. That's as it is, but I think we have a better package for the race than we had for qualifying, hopefully, because now it wasn't very good.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Best of luck for tomorrow. Now let's see, Rocky is here also. Rocky, tomorrow starting in P13. The reigning champion is starting in P13 and the champ leader. How does that feel at the moment?
It's DTM. I mean, I've been doing this long enough, and that's what I always say. You never know. It can happen to anyone. For sure, I'm very disappointed, but I think we changed the setup because I was pushing for it, and I think it was a mistake. We changed it from the first 2 races to this one to try to improve qualifying. Didn't work out, so I think after this race we have to go back.
Well, thank you very much. Best of luck, Rocky. And back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. Very interesting what Mike said there, that he was pushing the team to change the setup, and he said, I got it wrong.
Exactly.
And because we often wonder how much influence the drivers actually have in terms of where they're at with setup. So very interesting. What was also interesting was to hear the abject truth from Matthias Ekström. It sucks.
Yeah, and there wasn't much you could add to that, was there? Martin Tomczyk, another frustrated driver.
Yeah, Martin, the commentators were just saying Martin Tomczyk, another frustrated driver, but you're smiling. How do you feel about P18?
Smiling. Yeah, because I just see you again. But anyhow, P18, it's actually it's really ridiculous to talk about. But anyhow, the package, the car and the driver on my side was not good enough. That the car is fast enough. Actually, Marco Wittmann proved it. In my case, it was not the case. So, yeah, we'll see what's going on tomorrow.
Right, thank you very much, Martin. And now Bruno Spengler is also here. Bruno starting in P9 tomorrow. We already found out that all 7 DTM champs are out, and the guard seems to be changing. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I don't know. I mean, it's a difficult championship. There's a lot of things happening, and it's not a rule. What happened once doesn't happen every day. So it's normal. I expect all drivers in this championship to be able to claim for poles or for victories.
Yeah, otherwise they wouldn't be here. You know, they're not here just to drive behind us. They are here because they want to win, and this is also nice. And it gives a good challenge for me. I like challenges, and you know, I was very close today to do the Q3. And if you make it to Q3, you know, anything can happen. You know, I think on the car side today, BMW did a very good job. You know, in Q2 they were 1, 2, and 3, which is very good. On our side, we did not quite hit the right window, which these guys did. Congratulations to them. But now, you know, tomorrow is a different story. It's a long race. I trust my team for the car side and for the strategy, and I give my best. You know, from P9, you never know what can happen. We saw in Oschersleben last week, people who were at the back, really far at the back, won races. So you never know now. I'm starting 9th. Anything can happen, so I'm pushing hard tomorrow, give my best, and try to score maximum points.
And you will. Thank you very much, Bruno. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Farina. Well, he had an influence, didn't he, Q3 in the end, because he talked into quite a lot of it. Nice to hear so much from Bruno Spengler. As we watch now, Augusto Farfus. We're into the final part of qualifying, David Anderson, and this is really where it counts.
So Farfus, I suspect, is going to be the man that offers you up the first time of the session. And it was a 36.6 that Marco Wittmann was doing in Q2 that you can kind of use as the target. But Farfus now, with the road to himself, comes into this last sector through the penultimate hairpin. Now this climb uphill, it is steeper than it looks. And Farfus can't moan about traffic, can he? He's got the road to himself. And the former single-seater racer, ex-World Touring Car racer for Alfa Romeo as well as BMW, now comes to the line and offers the first lap of the session. It is a 38.051. There's certainly more to come.
Yes, there is more to come. Molina is up next then, 1:38.051. The benchmark time set then by Augusto Farfus. Molina now with a 1:36.862. Marco Wittmann then, well, did jolly well in the second part of qualifying. What can he deliver for the third part with 7 minutes left on the clock? Wittmann goes just second fastest with a 1:36.942. Maxime Martin now sets number 1 on the side of his graphic there as he goes quickest. Antonio Felix da Costa really wrestling with that BMW here around the Hungaroring circuit. Antonio Felix da Costa, and as you said, David, and we have both said, it's all, the guard is changing, and we're seeing some different names through to this part of qualifying, and you know what? That must affect some of the old guard, as you said, you know?
They must do, because they're realising that it's just that little bit harder these days to squeeze that 1,000th out, which they might need to get into Q1. Sorry, from Q1 into Q2, Q2 into Q3. Da Costa coming up towards the end of the lap. He's been quick this year, but his results don't really back that up, because he's been a bit unlucky, certainly at Hockenheim, and then got into the wars a bit at Oschersleben. 11th, his best result. He comes across the timing line now, goes third fastest on a 36.896, but Da Costa is somebody with a good future ahead of him. Farfus pits. He will be the first, won't he, to go on to a second set of tyres in Q3, and therefore will start the post representative lap times after that. Wittmann is on a flyer. Absolute best in Sector 1, but he's lost a fraction in Sector 2.
So Marco Wittmann then, who has been impressive in many ways at the start of this season in DTM. Of course, prior to joining DTM, he was the official BMW tester, and he also pits.
Yeah, onto a new set of tyres, so they're going to have time to change them, a start-up lap and 2 flying laps, I would propose, before the flag comes out. So it would be no surprise if the pit lane didn't get pretty busy now. Adrian Tambay has just joined in. Nico Müller is on a flying lap. He's yet to post a lap time. Maxime Martin has gone through, and he has done a 37.5, fractionally slower on that last lap. Nico Müller goes 5th, 37.337. So it's Martin, Molina, Da Costa, Wittmann, Müller, Farfus and Tambay yet to set a time. There's one car yet to even venture out, isn't there, which I think is Timo Glock.
So as we continue to watch Nico Müller then, we go back now to the Red Bull liveried BMW of Antonio Felix da Costa. 35.6 in the first sector, 34.9 second sector, which was not brilliantly impressive. What can he do in the final sector? He's binned the lap. He's into the pit lane. We have 4.5 minutes left to run. And this is Adrian Tambay,
who is onto his first flying lap now. So this is the lap that will start to dictate where the Audi goes. I still think there's probably time for another shot at it before the end. But we'll see where Tombé's pace is, certainly relative to Nico Müller, as he comes then down now towards turn 2, finds the dusty part of the circuit there, but he gets into the corner okay, trailing throttle through the corner, now back onto the power downhill, flicks right, and then this climb uphill. And this that you're looking at is the notorious turn 4 that people have been running wide at and therefore having lap times cancelled. Tombé goes through, that's okay.
Yep.
2 wheels up across the white line and onto the curb. Now this tight right that tightens as you turn through it, back onto the power, speed towards the chicane, and then you're heading into the faster part of the circuit. It starts to open up just a little bit as you get towards turn 10. Müller, in the meantime, comes over the timing line, stays 5th on a 37.174. Tombé, of course, a personal best in Sector 1, but an absolute best in Sector 2 wouldn't half help, would it?
No, you're right, it would. So Adrien Tombé then we watch here with the Playboy livery adorning the Audi. Well, a 34.9.
It's half a second down on the best in that sector alone. It's not great.
3 minutes just over left to run in this, the final part of qualifying here at the Hungaroring, as DTM revisits this circuit here. We're just around about 35-40 minutes away from Budapest, and Tombé crosses the line now and is 5th fastest.
Okay, so that puts him ahead of Müller in the Audi battle. Could have been quicker but for this look, because he ran a little bit wide as he hunted for the apex for turn 2 and found a bit of dust, and that may have just compromised him fractionally. And then this is the part of the circuit at which he spun in Q1, wasn't it? But he's okay in Q3. Rides up onto the curb. Right, Marco Wittmann, better than anybody in the first sector. This could be the pole position lap, Dave Richardson.
So here he comes then in the Ice Watch livery. Marco Wittmann then has been impressive thus far in the 2014 season of DTM. Is he going to continue to impress us? Marco Wittmann then on his way around this Hungaroring circuit with just 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to run. 35.4, he turns purple for Sector 1. 34.3, he turns it purple for Sector 2. If he can do the same for Sector 3, this could be the pole position lap from Marco Wittmann then, as he exits from turn 13. He starts turn 14 right now. It's the final turn here at the Hungaroring circuit, and Marco Wittmann now heads for the line. Is this going to be the pole position lap with 1.5 minutes left to run? He goes 1:36.518 and occupies for now P1.
Potentially, it could have been even better because he lost a fraction in that last sector. Timo Glock is now on track, and he is now 5th fastest. And that's his first flying lap, of course. He's got a set of tyres in reserve here for the race tomorrow. Won't be able to change them now, not enough time left. Acosta, personal best in Sector 1. He is 4th fastest. It's Wittmann. Martin, best qualifying yet in a DTM car. Molina 3rd. They rather overlooked him in the battle of the Audis. He's 3rd ahead of the others. Da Costa is 4th, Glock 5th, Tombé 6th, Müller 7th, and Farfus only 8th.
So Antonio Felix da Costa, we watch then 35.4 Sector 1, 35.0 Sector 2. The Wittmann time, 1:36.518. So uphill Antonio Felix da Costa goes as he's into turn 14 right now.
Tombé, lap time disallowed, exceeding track limits.
So Antonio Felix da Costa crosses the line now, and well, he stays P4.
Yeah, he lost out in that last sector, lost over a second in fact. Right, this is Tombé, so he's got to pull something out of the bag here because he's just lost that lap time. So as Farfus goes up to 6th, Tombé is put back down to 7th, still ahead of Müller, but drops a place on the grid. And now Miguel Molina, quicker than anybody in Sector 1. Timo Glock has done a personal best in Sector 1 and in Sector 2, but Molina now upholding Audi's honour, absolute best in Sector 1.
We have less than 30 seconds left to run in this, the third and final part of qualifying. We're watching the yellow Deutsche Post BMW of Timo Glock then, a man through single-seater experience here at the Hungaroring. Is all that experience going to count as he heads towards the timing line right now? And Timo Glock goes 2nd fastest with a 1:36.731.
And Da Costa has had a lap time cancelled as well for failing to manage track limits. Now this is Molina. This could be even better than Glock because it's an absolute best, a personal best. He's got to get this last corner right, this uphill climb, and then the run to the line. Molina started the lap 4th. Dave Richardson, he will end it where?
Here we go, across the line. Miguel Molina then, and P3.
Gains 1 spot, okay. He ran very wide coming out of that last corner. An absolute and 2 personal bests, so not bad. Not as good as I was anticipating. So Wittmann, Glock, Molina provisionally. Martin, Da Costa, Farfus, Tombé, Müller is the top 8. And that, I think, is everybody. There's nobody else looking as though they're going to be able to do anything. So the top 8 on the grid decided, and once again, it's Marco Wittmann that will start on pole.
So Marco Wittmann then, as we see him exit the car there, the Icewatch BMW. He's P3 in the points, and another supreme qualifying from Marco Wittmann. Well, you begin to wonder if 2014 is going to be the season for him. And this is Timo Glock, P2 in the Deutsche Post BMW. And Timo Glock, and just look, you don't very often see Marco Wittmann smiling from ear to ear, do you?
No,
but
right.
He is very happy.
Understandably so. Not only has he illustrated his pace, he's also shown that BMWs in general are competitive around here. So it's a BMW lockout for the front row, Wittmann and Glock. And the Reinhold Motorsport car ahead of the M-Tech car, Marco Wittmann, will head now to the press conference. We might get a chance to hear from Marco Wittmann, but he's a happy man. And second on the grid will be Timo Glock, and then this man for third, the best of the Audi drivers, Miguel Molina, who threw everything at it on the last lap, but maybe just ran a bit too wide and lost a fraction of time on that last corner coming up to the line, didn't he?
Yes, and that's where you think that probably dampened that lap for him. Okay, Maxime Martin, brilliant rookie result, and Verena is with him right now.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. That was a fantastic rookie result. P4, how does it feel?
Yeah, it's great. It's my first Q3. P4, it's quite good. Yeah, I'm really happy. The team did a really good job. BMW is really strong, so yeah, looking forward to tomorrow and to have a good race and try to have some points.
All right, thank you very much. Best of luck. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Verena. So Maxime Martin, and as we see Timo Glock there, thump the roof of the car and head over towards the congratulations of the team. So Wittmann, Glock on the front row then for the race tomorrow. And here is the result of session 3. Wittmann and Glock then P1 and P2. Then it's Molina, Maxime Martin, who we've just heard from, Antonio Felix da Costa P5, then Augusto Farfus P6, Adrien Tombe is P7, and it's Adrien Tombe that's alongside Verena right now.
Yes, I'm here with Adrien. P7 tomorrow. Woo, really loud here. Where can you go from there tomorrow in the race?
I think it's a bit different from the 2 first races where I started from first throw, but actually I like it also like this, and I think for the tire choice is a bit different. We can look at the forward to the race and hopefully take some good points.
Best of luck. Thank you. Back to you.
So Adrien Tombe there, confident for the race tomorrow. So we will see. And Miguel Molina then, P3, and Maxime Martin, who Verena has already spoken to, is P4. So that's the way it looks for the first 2 rows of the DTM race, which comes up here at the Hungaroring tomorrow. And all the cars down there in Parc Fermé from the final part of qualifying, all new qualifying for 2014, where it is in 3 parts, and there the pole-sitting car of Marco Wittmann's Icewatch machine. Okay, Verena Wright has got Nico Muller now.
Yes, indeed. Nico here, first time in Q3, starting in P8 tomorrow. You seem to be smiling. Are you happy about that?
Well, at the first moment I wasn't very happy with my lap in Q3, struggled a bit with the balance, with how the track evolved, so I think a little bit more would have been possible, but in the end my goal today was to get into Q3, we managed that, and I think it's a good position to go into the race tomorrow and go for some points.
And what's the goal for tomorrow exactly?
Well, before the weekend I said I want my first points here, but now being in a good position to get maybe even more than 1 point, I hope to get as many as possible. We'll see where it goes, and with a good strategy I think we have a good race car, and yeah, just take it lap by lap and see where we end up.
Thank you so much, best of luck, and back to you guys.
Thanks, Verena. So initially it was just a point, now it's more than 1 point. As we see Marco Wittmann and Jens Marquardt there just walking down either side of the barriers. And, well, interesting shape to the front of the grid for the DTM race to come tomorrow at the Hungaroring. See Augusto Farfus there being congratulated by Jens Marquardt. And there he is, he embraces Timo Glock, and he'll be on his way to Marco Wittmann in just a mo. Well, actually, Marco is led away. We hope to speak with Verena Wright, because it'd be interesting to see what Marco Wittmann has got to say about that lap.
And a good lap it was, because he was over 2/10 up on Timo Glock at the end. So Marco Wittmann illustrating once again his pace and his ability. And BMW looking very strong indeed. 3 in the top 4 come the end of that session. Augusto Farfus 6th, so it's one of the most important qualifying sessions of the year, though, because it's a narrow circuit, the Hungaroring.
Yes, it is.
There's one line. Overtaking is not that easy. Even with the DRS at the end of the main straight, the pit straight, it still won't be that easy. The top 3 drivers getting together there for the obligatory photograph with Marco Wittmann in the middle, Timo Glock with a beard, and the Audi overalls of Miguel Molina at the other end of the trio. And it's going to be a great battle, no doubt, come lights out tomorrow between these 3 drivers. 41 laps for the 3rd DTM race of the year.
I know it was interesting. We learned from Andrew Van Leeuwen, who's here from Autosport magazine, up in the media centre a little bit earlier on. He'd had a conversation with the Hankook engineers who were telling us something about the operating temperature of the option tyres, and they're looking for a temperature of at least 20 degrees for those to work really well, aren't they?
Yeah, and hopefully that will come tomorrow, but it's been a very cool, grey weekend thus far. And Miguel Molina will go into tomorrow's race starting 3rd on the grid. His best of the season as a finishing result has been 6th. Let's see how he fares tomorrow. Timo Glock will start 2nd. His best finish of the year, his better finish, has been 5th. And that was at Hockenheim. And of course, the poleman is Marco Wittmann, and he is with Verena.
And he is very happy. You've got a smile from one ear to the other. Well done. How does it feel with the pole position?
Yeah, of course, great. I mean, qualifying went pretty well through all the sessions. I had just a little moment in turn 4 where I was out of the track limits. But since the car was pretty good, I felt very comfortable and could push. And finally, to be on pole is a great effort for the team, for BMW Motorsport as well, with Timo and P2. Overall, I think a good result for BMW, and of course, really happy.
And of course, everybody always says race tomorrow is a completely different story, but I guess it does make you feel really confident starting from pole.
Of course it helps. I mean, to start from pole, it's always a nice feeling. You can be a bit more relaxed, I think, into the race. You are not in the middle of the field, so the risk of a crash or accident in corner 1 is less. So yeah, tomorrow we will see what the weather is doing, and then hopefully having a good start, and then let's see what's happened.
All right, thank you very much. Best of luck for tomorrow. Back to you.
So Marco Wittmann then, who has done the job today and put himself on pole position there, and he alluded to the fact there that turn 1, of course, it's always going to be very busy, but here at the Hungaroring, David, where it is narrow and the overtaking opportunities on the track are not huge, got a good point, hasn't he?
It's going to be a very important corner. Turn 2 on the first lap is somewhere that you might just be able to strike, and this is the way they're going to start. Wittmann ahead of Glock, ahead of Molina, Martin 4th, Da Costa 5th, Farfus ahead of Tornbe, Muller, Spengler, Green, Ekstrom, and then 12th Mortara. Rockenfeller 13th ahead of Hand, Scheider, Wehrlein, Wickens, Tomczyk, De Resta, Junqueira, Paffett, Petrov, Vitoris. That is the order. The 23 drivers with 7 champions, but they're peppered from midfield back, aren't they? So
yes.
Come the race tomorrow, fascinating to see how they work this. Are you going to use your option tyre in the first stint and try and pull away, bearing in mind how difficult overtaking is? It could be a wasted set of tyres because you can't use them to their advantage. Do you use them in that second stint and try and get the jump on people that started? It's difficult to know, but I think the key to it is how hard overtaking will be.
Yeah. Well, of course, all those computations will be going through the team's minds as we take our first look now at the grid. And first row is Marco Wittmann and Timo Glock.
The second row is where you find the best of the Audis. Miguel Molina 3rd, ahead of Maxime Martin's best ever qualifying.
And Antonio Felix da Costa with another strong qualifying season P5 with Augusto Farfus alongside.
Audis come next. Adrian Tornbe out-qualifies Nico Muller. They're 7th and 8th.
And then we go back to Bruno Spengler, who is P9, with Jamie Green alongside.
Matthias Ekstrom, former champion, only 11th. Edo Mortara, fellow Audi driver, is 12th.
Then we see the champion and the championship leader, Mike Rockenfeller, P13, with Joey Hand, good showing from the American, alongside.
Next on the grid, Timo Scheider, one of many drivers to lose a lap time. Pascal Wehrlein's Mercedes for company.
Then we see the Mercedes of Robert Wickens, and Martin Tomczyk, very disappointed with himself in P18.
And then Paul De Resta, who we lost in Q1, is ahead of Daniel Junqueira, both Mercedes drivers.
Very surprised to see P21 for Gary Paffett, and Vitaly Petrov is alongside him, P22.
And then Christian Vitoris at the back of the grid as we now head to the press conference.
press conference after the first qualifying of a DTM in Budapest after 25 years. The